Say, goddamn. You said, all right. I said, let's do a podcast. Let's sit down. Let's get a coffee. Let's just talk about 1, 2, 3, 4. Coffee with the Sam. Got a little podcast. Grab yourself a little coffee and a podcast.
What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Coffee with Sam podcast. Now, I'd like to start this podcast by saying how sick is my new intro from Mr. Luke Chadwick Jones that we had on the show last week. And I'd like to start it with saying a big, massive apology for during this this episode, a storm hit, and I was filming where things were out of my control. A storm hit, and we actually got some interference on the new audio system, and that's the problem with having such good equipment. When things go wrong, it can pick it up, so you start to hear a bit of rain, and then also something happened in the magical powers of the world and the audio started crackling. So please bear with about 15 to 20 minutes in. It is a very, very interesting episode. Please welcome in my next guest. So what's up, guys? Welcome to the Coffee with Sam podcast, and welcome to my guest, Liam Wheeler. If you guys on YouTube can see this, the audio can't. The size of this man, the size difference. How tall are you?
6 foot.
6 foot. I'm like 5'6" on a good day. So this dude is huge compared to me. What do you weigh now?
About 120 kilo at the moment.
So is that to do with because of your powerlifting that you've decided to put the weight on, or
it's just kind of gradually creeped up over the years. I compete under 125 kilo, so I'm actually underweight for my weight class. But
so for people listening and viewing, he is a Team GB, or you've competed for?
Yeah, I've competed for GB once a few years ago.
Is that you going to go for that again, or?
Maybe next year. Yeah, I was going to go out to the Europeans in September, but work permitted. Well, work didn't permit that, so couldn't get the time off work. But yeah. So
it's done Team GB for it's powerlifting, right? I've got to get this right, because there's a big argument. There's the old Olympic lifting, powerlifting.
Oh, yeah.
What's this?
Strongman.
What's that? Strongman. So, what is for the viewers and listeners? What is powerlifting?
So, powerlifting is made up of 3 compound lifts. You got your squat, bench press, and deadlift in that order. You get 3 attempts at each lift. You ideally want to lift as much weight as possible per lift. And then the overall biggest weight from the squat, the bench, the deadlift goes towards an overall total.
Okay, so you have to do 3.
Yeah, you get three attempts at 3 lifts.
At 3 lifts, and then that all goes together.
Yeah.
And that's the bench, deadlift, squat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you were to say squat 300 kilo, bench 200 kilo, and deadlift 300, those are your 3 biggest numbers. Those 3 get added together and go towards an overall total. That's kind of the general idea of powerlifting. There are other ways of working out, like you've got formulas and stuff like that. Which,
the alpha lifts.
Yeah.
So they're like the 3 big, I'm stronger than you.
Yeah.
Is it the
ideally, total is king, but you'll get the lighter, skinnier lifters who will prefer the formulas like Wilks. So then, rather than the overall weight going into it, their body weight, their age, and the weight they've lifted all gets put into a formula, and they end up beating the bigger guys basically, because pound for pound they are essentially stronger.
Oh, okay. So with you compete in a weight class, right? So isn't that
correct?
The same sort of thing when they're lighter, or?
Yeah.
Just the mathematics comes off that they are.
Yeah, so it's essentially the lighter guys end up benefiting over the heavier guys, even though they've probably lifted less weight.
Oh, okay.
It gets confusing, but let's just stick with the total.
that's so it's basically how strong you are. So if your bench was bad, you could go into an event like a deadlift and be like, well, I need to lift this much to be able to catch whoever's in front of me.
Yeah. So, for example, when I competed at the British Championships last year, after the squat and the bench, I was actually in first position. On the subtotal, I was slightly ahead of the other 2 guys that were in second and third. But I knew they were big deadlifters. They were like 350 plus deadlifters, and I didn't unfortunately get the squat that I was after. So they then claimed it back on the deadlift, and I ended up in third position.
Oh man, and deadlift's one of your main events, right? Really?
Squat for me.
Squat, oh.
Yeah, I had a big setback in 2017 with my deadlift. Just competing at a charity event, just casual, bit of fun, and my back went. End result of that being I think it's two slightly perforated discs in my lower back.
Oh, nice. So is that a mental thing now, you think, or
It was. I've only really started progressing with deadlift, I would say, since early this year.
And it's just a mental setback of how bad it felt. And
Massively, yeah. I could approach a bar with whatever weight on it and quite easily talk myself out of lifting it.
So powerlifting is literally banging as much weight on the 3 big lifts on your upper body, you squats your whole body, deadlifts your whole body, but pulling, and seeing how much can you deal with that.
Basically, yeah.
You've just said about your discs. What other side effects do you get from powerlifting? Like, that's a lot of strain. And you train how many times a week?
At the moment it varies. On a normal week, 3 times a week. At the moment, well, last week I trained 5 days. As I mentioned to you, I tore my quad week before last, so trying to currently rehab that at the moment.
Was that squatting?
Yeah.
And just go?
No pre-warning.
Trying to be ultimate alpha, or was you just?
I was warming up.
Oh no!
I didn't even have anything heavy on the bar. I had, I think it's 205 kilo, so relatively light for me. And come up at the bottom of the squat, and I just felt something pop in my leg. And end result of that being a quad tear.
Oh, is it sore in itself? Is it bad? How bad is it?
So that happened a week ago on Saturday, just gone. Since then, I've managed to squat twice, only 140 kilo. But other than the squat, I can still bench fine. I can still deadlift fine. I actually deadlifted a lifetime PB on Saturday. Pulled 300 for the first time with a quad tear.
So your quads have said, nah, the hamstrings are like, we're going to have to back this up, man.
Basically.
The poor hammies are just burning. Yeah. So straight away, we've had 2 side effects already. We've had disc popping out.
Yeah.
We've had big muscle tears, though. It's not like a shoulder tear or a forearm tear.
Yeah.
So that's a big muscle group tear.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite lucky, really, because it is only a small tear. The bruising only started coming out this past weekend. So the bruising has took 6-7 days to come out, which is a good sign. Pardon me. Which is a good sign.
Good manners, sir.
He
might be 6 foot odd with a big beard, but he's got manners, guys. He's got manners.
Yeah, so that was a good sign with the bruising taking so long to come out because, do you know about muscle tears?
Yeah.
Yeah. So So when you're tearing muscle, essentially it's the ligament that's being torn. If it was a full rupture, a full tear, the bruising would come out quite early because obviously with the ligament being torn, it would bleed quite badly. The blood comes to the surface quite soon and would show bluey kind of purple. The bruising I've got a little bit of bluey purple coming out, but the majority is like a greeny yellow. So therefore showing it's older blood. It's took a bit of time to get to the surface. So it's probably just a small tear somewhere, which is kind of good news, I suppose.
And is that good to go back to training straight away, or is it better to rest? Is it better to like you can show that I take it you're not in pain when you're deadlifting, which obviously your quads are getting involved when you deadlift, but if you're not in pain, then
So the only pain I really go through is during the squat, and near the bottom of the squat, it's getting a little bit tight on the quad. I wouldn't really say it was too painful. It's bearable. It's manageable.
So is that just an ego, like I'm going to carry on training, or is that I've been advised to carry on training? Because we hear about rest, don't we? And rest coming into it. A lot of rest is important. Stop this overtraining. Stop going all out all the time when you're injured to try and rest. But obviously, all the time, the first thing I say to a sprained ankle is walk on it.
Yeah,
get on it.
That was To be fair, that was essentially what my coach told me. He says just keep moving on it. Don't let it seize up. Don't just essentially advised me not to rest. So, kind of beginning of last week, I started on just some bodyweight squats with a 10 kilo plate. Each day, kind of crept it up.
Which is still pretty heavy because you weigh what?
Yeah.
With it, you already weigh a
Yeah,
lot.
it's like 5% of my body weight or something like
Probably
that.
what I'm squatting right now. I'd say I've been in the gym for about 6 months, but yeah.
So yeah, I did some body weight squats with a 10 kilo plate, then crept it up to 15 the following day, 20 the day after. Eventually worked my way up to an empty bar. The bars we squat on are 25 kilo bars. So yeah, worked up to some front squats with an empty bar, and then come Saturday just gone, did some front squats up to 45 kilo. That was looking good, feeling pretty good. So then we did some back squats, did some high bar squats, did 75 kilo, was fine, went up to 105. That was fine. And then we just left it there, went on to deadlift, went on to bench instead.
So it's showing that like not resting is probably doing you a favor.
Yeah.
To, like you say, keep the blood flow going and keep working. Which is, it's obviously, it's a hard thing to think about doing, because you're always told to rest, you're always told to ice, you're always told to relax.
If you used to go to a doctor, they'd say rest it, ice it, don't overstrain it. But
that's just the easiest thing for them to say, though, isn't it? Because they're not going to look after you, whereas you've got someone looking after you.
That's it.
So they can do that, because you can go back to them weekly and they can go, actually, what we've said last week's not working, let's change it. Where a doctor don't want to see you again.
That's it. Yeah.
They're just like,
you struggle to get in.
Yeah, they're getting their pay rise for keeping you out of the hospital. So they're saying, bro, go home and sit down for 6 weeks and I'll see you in 6 weeks. But then by then you've seized up, you sat down, the muscle's gone hella tight, and then you've gone backwards, really. So we're talking about side effects. I want to go back to your Instagram post, blood coming out your forehead. What was that about? So we've seen Eddie Hall when it comes out his nose on that mega deadlift. We've seen a lot of people out there, a lot of videos going around when they're doing like Olympic lifts, they catch and it's their eyeballs pop in.
Yeah.
I've never seen it come out of someone's forehead.
Yeah, I've seen once or twice where people have bled from the chest, stuff like that, and I think it's just down to the pure pressure buildup. Why it happens, I don't know. But it's usually just a blood vessel that pops. Doesn't hurt. I can't feel it. It's not until someone screams at me, "Oh my god, you've got blood dripping from your head," that I know it's actually happened. And yeah, same thing happened.
Yeah, that's normal.
Yeah, it's normal.
So does that not scare you? I thought that was in your head. That's pressure in your brain. Like,
I don't really think too much about it, to be honest.
Like, and the pressure is clearly because you're not breathing.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. It's just that although it is, 3, 4, maybe 5 seconds of no breath, a lot of pressure build up. I suppose it's got to come out somewhere, and the blood vessels decide to give up and just pop.
I think it coming out my chest, I wouldn't be too bothered about that. But it coming out my head.
Yeah,
I think that'd worry me a little bit. Did it not worry you at all? Or
it's not the first time it's happened. Yeah, it's happened. It doesn't happen regularly, but it's definitely happened more than a handful of times in the past.
Just wipe it off and forget about it.
That's it. Yeah,
and you start forgetting things a few days later, and you're like, "Oh, maybe I should stop doing that."
But yeah, I mean, like I say, I at the time I don't know it happens. I can't feel nothing actually pops that I can feel.
Yeah.
I just put it down to pressure build up, blood vessels giving up, and just deciding to leak a bit of blood, I suppose.
So what's that like? So was that a PB? Was a PB event for that? Wasn't that day? It was like, oh, blood out my head, but I got a PB.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah. So that day I pulled 290 kilo for a double. My 1 rep max at the time was 292.5. So I just doubled 2.5 kilos less than my one rep max.
Oof. So you kind of forgot about the blood.
Yeah,
and got a bit excited.
It didn't really matter at the time because I was pretty buzzing to get the PB.
So, what makes you want to see how much you can pick heavy weight up for as much as you can for so many reps? What makes you want to do that? What gets you out of bed in the morning to want to do that? Because apart from your job, it's life.
Yeah,
and it's a big hobby of yours. And knowing you for a while, we'll get back into your past. But what makes you want to do those 3 big lifts? Food.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I'm very food motivated.
Eat as much as you want.
That's a good question. I like the challenge, I suppose. I mean, obviously, I started the gym when I was 20, 21. Did a few years as a bodybuilder. Didn't really work out for me. And I always liked the idea of lifting heavy weights. So kind of growing up, always watching the strongman that's always on the TV at Christmas, seeing little bits and bobs of, like, weightlifting on the Olympics, and kind of didn't really know a whole lot about powerlifting, but always liked the idea of moving big weights and being strong. Now, when I first started powerlifting, I didn't consider myself to be very strong at all. I was never a strong bodybuilder. I was never shifting big weights.
Always tall though, weren't you? You always had.
Oh yeah, I've always had
a build.
Yeah,
You can just tell that someone's, unless they are like the guys that you say that are a bit lighter.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say skinny to wind people up,
Yeah.
because I think I've lost about 5 kg since I stopped training and going to cheer, man. I was like 80 kg. I'm now like 73. I'm like, ugh. So we're not gonna say skinny, but the lighter guys, they're just like strong, but and you can just tell like your Thors.
Yeah.
And you've just got that build.
That was
like
it.
You always, since I've known you, you're always tall and wide.
Yeah.
Do you think that could be an aspect of why you ended up going that route?
Possibly, yeah, possibly. I always like the idea of being strong, of moving big weights, of the constant challenge of, kind of, I suppose 12 months ago, I would sit there and I wouldn't think I'd be where I am now. I wouldn't think I'd be lifting the weights I am now. But you keep progressing, you keep chipping away, and before you know it, you're lifting numbers and lifting weights that you never would think you would ever do.
And having to go into such a dark place, do you think that could have come from? Has it come from an experience?
Yeah,
in life?
It takes a certain individual to do what I do, to do what we do. I mean, there are, powerlifting is for anyone. There are certainly people that will just come and do it as a bit of fun because they enjoy it. But when you take it as seriously as I do, and as seriously as the people I associate with do, we all have different ways of dealing with pre-lift thoughts, pre-lift feelings.
Do you think that could have, like, because of what you have to do, get yourself in such a dark place to do what you're doing?
Yeah.
Do you think that does it come from somewhere, like something as a child, or something as a, like, do you know what I mean, or like maybe you failed at bodybuilding, so you're like, well, I need to succeed at this, like, because like you say, you have to go into a sickening place to do PBs.
Yeah, that's true. I suppose growing up,
because if you look at the people too, they're all the same sort of people.
Yeah,
that do powerlifting,
strongman.
Yeah,
very similar look, similar appearance.
Yeah, and I say same sort of mindset too.
Yeah. I suppose growing up, I've done various sports, played football, athletics.
You used to throw the old javelin, didn't you?
Yeah, that was it. I used to compete for Tamworth, and I was always not very good at those sports, very mediocre. I mean, football I was never great at. Javelin I was okay at, only being quite young. Bodybuilding never had the genetics for, wasn't very good at. So I suppose with powerlifting,
because you like food.
Well, yeah, that's it. I'll get eating too much.
Dieting, nah.
Powerlifting, I suppose that's just stubbornness, really. You're gonna tell me I can't do something, I'm gonna prove you wrong.
Yeah.
And kind of, those previous sports I took part in, not being very good at that, I finally found something which I absolutely love, and is the reason I get out of bed most days. And I just want to be as good as I can at it, and I'm going to keep chipping away at those numbers until I get to where I want to be.
It is fun as well, though. Like, I was always stuck in a. I was asking about where it could have come from. Is I had the thought of when I quit cheer,
yeah,
and obviously I had nothing to train for, and then I'd done the whole dieting, which caused bad things.
Oh yeah.
And all that stuff, and then I actually came back and did do powerlifting, but I was trying to up my bench, up my squat, up my deadlift. And I got to eat.
Yeah.
And I always found dieting hard because I like to eat. So this was easy for me. And I was just stacking weight on. And it wasn't always bad weight. People, like, said in like 3 or 4 weeks after, like, you look bigger. Like, and I'd naturally just been starving my body. Like, yeah, I know your muscles fill up with glycogen and all that stuff, but you put a lot of fat on quickly. Not as quick as your muscle. But I just felt strong. I felt... Do you know what I mean? I felt good, and in my head it felt good because I had a goal of I was eating for a reason. I need to not eat because I've got to do this and like stop myself eating to be healthy. And I was still healthy, and I got a bit plump, but you could see the effects of it, and my numbers were going up and up and up and up and up and up. And I was actually like energized for training, whereas for years it had been dieting. It had been, even for cheer, it was like I want to be energized for training. But then it's like, well, we've got a comp soon. I might have my top off. We're going to World soon. It's in Florida.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking performance.
Yeah.
And that's why now I'm so big on it. When I remember, like, first time at Worlds, and someone said to me, the coach was like, "Oh, Sam, can you help the team? What should we do with nutrition?" And I said, "Eat, eat."
Yeah.
I said, because the last 3 weeks, half of them haven't been eating, especially the girls,
Oh god, yeah.
because they need to look good.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So powerlifting was, I didn't do powerlifting. I did your free lifts
Yeah.
and ate a lot of food, and I loved it. It was such a good. I think if you go the other way, you could be too big if you're not lifting the numbers and actually looking after yourself. But it was nice just to eat and have energy to train, and like, people say, "Oh, you can still have energy and have abs and this, that, the other." But it was nice how fast the numbers were going up as well, because I could eat for that goal, not eat for losing weight.
That's it, yeah.
So that's why I was just wondering, like, if it had come from maybe the bodybuilding being so strict for so long. I remember you coming to my birthday parties, mate, with bloody broccoli or something in a tub.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, have a beer, and you're like, I can't. I'm competing in like 8 weeks. I'm like, 8 weeks. 8
Weeks
weeks.
is a long time.
Like, yeah, and you never get that time back. Like, and I understand bodybuilding, but I'm glad that it is coming better where people are eating a bit different now. It's not just so plain, because people aren't losing their lives to gain something special in their lives with the bodybuilding.
I think with bodybuilders as well, if you're not careful, it can lead to a lot of body dysmorphia, mental health issues.
Yeah, like I say, that's what I think why it was so nice for me to powerlift.
Yeah,
because I've been dieting for so long.
Kind of.
Not even doing the bodybuilding. If I think back to the first time I went into a gym, you're looking like 12, 13 years ago. And I was like I had to go at the powerlifting 2 years ago. So you're looking 10, 11 years of trying to be lighter.
Always trying to look a certain way.
Yeah, and trying to be lighter and just be something I wasn't. Because like I say, I've got an appetite, absolute biggest appetite.
like I said, with powerlifting, it takes a certain individual to powerlift. I think the same with bodybuilding. Bodybuilding is, from my brief experience, it's a lifestyle. It's 24/7.
Yeah, I think if you can do it, and I've got a lot of friends who do it very well, and if you can do it and keep control of your mind, then it's fine.
Yeah.
I think with bodybuilding, it's a lot easier to lose track of where you're actually going and why you're doing it.
Yeah, you can end up going down that rabbit hole, and before you know it,
unhealthy.
Yeah, exactly. So I enjoyed bodybuilding when I did it. I enjoyed the style of training. I enjoyed seeing the progression, as slow as it may be. But yeah, so I did a couple of local shows that were just run by the gym, and very soon realised bodybuilding just wasn't for me. And then there was kind of that transition period then of...
You're like me, mate. You're always a plump kid. You're always a plump kid like me, mate.
Yeah.
No good dieting.
I never had the genetics for bodybuilding, so I tried my luck with something else instead. Took up powerlifting. I think it was middle to back end of 2016, and very, very quickly fell in love with it. And kind of early 2017, and I was diving straight into my first competition.
I think as well, it's not taking anything away from it, but it's not simpler because there is so much programming that goes into it.
Yeah.
But I think it's so much more enjoyable because there's a lot less. Like bodybuilding, you got to do 20 bloody different exercises to make this delt pop, that delt pop, the other delt pop, this little muscle pop. Whereas powerlifting, you are doing your auxiliaries on other days, but you can go in. I'm benching today.
That's it, yeah.
I'm squatting today, or I'm deadlifting today, and you just go in, get all your warm up and all that, which is obviously getting a lot more scientific and stuff. But you can just get in, get it done.
Yeah, I agree with that to a certain extent. But again, kind of prepping for a comp, each day, each week, you've got certain numbers, certain reps you need to be hitting, or your coach is telling you to hit to get that overall 1 rep max that you're after. So if you're someone like me, I overthink squats a lot. Because with me, squat is my main lift. Squat is the one I enjoy the most.
Yeah.
So
that's weird because all I ever see is DC deadlift.
Yeah, that's true.
I literally see deadlift all the time.
Yeah, I've not squatted anything really,
but
too heavy.
That could be going back to your injury though. That you want to deadlift more because you want to get that deadlift back up.
Yeah, that's it.
Whereas you squat, you just enjoy it.
Yeah, squats always come quite naturally to me, even before powerlifting. I used to always enjoy squatting. never used to really deadlift much, and as I say, I had that big setback in 2017 with my back, and it's just been a very, very long road to recovery. Even to a point where some people have asked me, like, why is your squat so far ahead of your deadlift? I'm like, well, having to explain the back injury, having to explain the mental side effects of it all.
And you can tell it's mental because if your back was weak, you wouldn't be able to squat.
Yeah.
You'd just fold. You'd collapse in the middle.
So, when my back did first initially go, I wasn't able to squat or deadlift for about 3 months, to a point where I just completely cut them out altogether and had to rebuild my squat and deadlift from 60 kilo upwards. And it was a very long, very slow process.
That's the crazy thing with the body. People don't realize, like, that's because it's your spine. Your brain remembers that shit, man. It's like hurt. That was nearly hurt my spine. I ain't letting do that again. And they say mental as in like you, but that's your body just remembering. This movement did this to me, and that's my spine, which is that your body doesn't care about your limbs, it cares about your spine, and that's why backs go so easy, is because the body's just trying to protect, and then it will remember that, and it will say, dude, this ain't happening again, and it'll just stay there until you overcome it, to let it know, like, well, not overcome it, so the brain knows, all right, it's not going to do it again. It's being nice to me.
Yeah, and as I say, it's took me a while. It's took me best part of 2 years to kind of shake that mental image of, what happens if my back goes again, to a point now where I am very confident deadlifting again, and these kind of last 8, 9, maybe 10 weeks, seen massive progress in my deadlift. I've been doing numbers and reps that I've never done before and didn't think I would be doing.
With a torn quad.
Yeah, and that as well. Yeah.
So hopefully they should start to go up even more in the quad.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I think.
And that just shows that just proves what I've just said. Like, I might be wrong about the brain, but I know it remembers stuff. So like your quad, it's not around the spine. So your body's like, oh, let's just keep going. Where your back's the spine, so your brain's like, no, stop it.
So your back goes, that's it. It's going to cause you a lot of problems.
Wants to look after it. So we talked a lot about food. What do you know? What calorie intake? Do you prep? How do you do? I know everyone's different. Do you do it by calories? Do you do it by just eating?
Yeah, basically. I was kind of keeping a rough track of my calories a little while ago, and on average, I was consuming around about 4,000 calories a day.
I would love that.
Yeah, quite easily as well. I was trying to put a little bit of weight on at one point. I was trying to get up to about 127 kilo. And I was sitting around about 122, 123 on a heavy day.
kg?
Yeah, that's it. So that's...
Guys, just to let you know, I said the size difference. I'm 73 kg. He's 122. Yeah. He's like double me. He's just eating me. Like, you might be able to see it on camera, but forget height. Like, the size difference is amazing. So, what does food look like for you? Let's go type of food, and then let's go like a day of food.
I think like a normal person, really. If anything, I always think to myself, I don't eat enough. So,
is it very healthy?
It's moderate. So, I mean, for example, this morning, earlier on this afternoon, when I got back home, I cut myself a sausage sandwich, bit of egg, bit of cheese, bit of red sauce. Dinner, last night, for example, I had chicken, chips, curry sauce, and then I always take food to work. So last night I took to work with me some 2-minute roast that you put in the microwave.
Yeah.
Took a microwavable
curry.
Easiest
thing, isn't
it? Yeah, that's it. Microwavable curry as well, and I have a few snacky bits like crisps, chocolate, a few biscuits and stuff. So I kind of think it's very much like what a normal person would eat, a normal everyday going person.
So are you thinking more calorie intake than protein, carbs, fats?
Yeah, ideally just trying to get calories in. As I said,
because most of that doesn't seem too healthy. There's no vegetables in there.
I've never been a veg eater, even before the powerlifting, the bodybuilding.
I was about to say, yeah. So the bodybuilding was definitely never going to work.
I used to force myself to eat, things like broccoli and stuff when I powerlifted, and I didn't necessarily not enjoy it, but also didn't really enjoy it. It's just kind of.
Could that be a mental thing from the bodybuilding?
Quite possibly.
You force yourself to probably eat it.
Yeah, quite possibly, but
plain,
even
with nothing on it.
Yeah. I think even before that, I've just never been a massive vegetable eater. Very much a meat and potatoes kind of guy, and that's it.
So do you not think you lack your minerals and vitamins from not eating your vegetables? Do you think that could up your performance, help your performance?
It possibly could, yeah, but I've never really experimented with that. So
Would that be? I know you said you competed,
yeah.
but would that be something that you'd probably look to do if it got real serious, like you're actually competing all? Obviously, I know we can't compete much of the time, but like, say when you compete for GB, that's once.
Yeah.
Say you'd gone to Europeans, and then maybe that was back to back to back, and you were competing a lot more. Do you think that would be something you'd look for? Like,
if I knew it was definitely going to benefit me, and if it was going to give me results, then yeah, 100%.
meat and potatoes sounds so American. That does.
Yeah, I know.
It's meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
That's just weird to hear. That you don't smash the veg.
Yeah, a lot of people say that to me. And to me, it's just normal. It's
definitely why bodybuilding wasn't for you.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely. So you don't split up carbs, fats, proteins. You don't look how much protein you have in a day. I know you've been doing it for so long, and you can't eyeball stuff correctly, but you can say, well, I've had about 3 meals of protein in today. Do you split all that up?
No, I admittedly I'm very lazy when it comes to the nutrition side of things. I eat when I'm hungry, really, and that's about it. Again, going back to the bodybuilding days, forcing myself to eating every 3 hours.
So yeah, do you eat a certain amount of meals a day, or do you just, like I say, you literally just eat when you're hungry?
I would say I'll probably try and get 3-4 meals a day in. I'll try and eat at least 3-4 times a day. By whatever means possible.
So you just heard that, guys. He's 122 kg, and he only eats 3 to 4 meals a day. So this government basic of you have to eat 3 a day.
Yeah.
That's why we have a lot of problems. Like you don't have to eat any certain amount, and if you can be 122 kg, only eating the government guidelines of meals per day, then it's a big eye opener.
Yeah.
Really. Like I know your meals are probably like a bloody service tray.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, like portion size, but it just shows that. Do you know what I mean, someone of your size, 6 foot, 122 kg, you'd think that would be like 6 meals a day of this many thousand calories. Well, it's not. It's 4,000 calories. I've had lightweight clients on 4,000 calories, and only 3 to 4 meals a day. Like it shows you don't have to do that.
Oh yeah,
6,
definitely.
7, 8, like massive plates full of food all the time. So that's good for you to say. Any ideas of competitions this year? Obviously, I know the year is very flat on its back at the moment, really.
So I did get to compete earlier in the year. I got to compete back in March at an event called Tattooed and Strong, and that was just a bench press and a deadlift comp. But since then, there's been nothing. As I said, the federation I compete for, our Europeans went ahead. That was in Slovakia.
Is that the one you were meant to be going to?
Yeah, that was it. I couldn't get time off work, unfortunately. But again, the Fed I'll compete for now in this country, just radio silence. They've not announced anything. They're not giving any suggestions. And the frustrating part of that is there's another federation which is quite close to the one I compete with. So it's kind of almost like the rival federation, I would say. They're starting to run competitions again in this country. So they've already ran 3, maybe 4 comps in England. They've got one coming up in December in North Wales, in Rill, which I've got some friends competing in. But
you rival, like, can you not go to that one?
I could if I wanted to, but it's just a whole having to sign up to a different federation, having to pay sign-up fees, blah blah blah. And not only that, I often find that the judging and the reffing standards in that said federation aren't always great. Aren't always up to scratch.
Politics.
Yeah.
Awesome. So politics has even made its way into powerlifting. Like,
oh yeah, massively.
How can you? Sure, you pick it up or you don't pick it up.
Yeah. So with powerlifting, that there are guidelines and rules to go by. So, for example, with the squat, you have to squat to what we call depth. So depth is judged by the hip crease being below the top of the knee. So again, when you squat, when you bench, when you deadlift, you've got 3 referees, 3 judges. You've got a centre ref, on two sides. And on the squat, the sides will be looking for that hip crease to be below the top of the knee. Now, what I think the hip crease below the top of the knee would be and what you think are two different things. So, and again, this is where the whole social media comes into it, because you'll get someone that records from a different angle to what the judge is looking at. The judge might think it looks a good lift, but on the camera, it might look like it's not to depth. So it's what we call high. It would be a high squat. That gets posted on social media. Everyone trashes that lift, but in reality, they wasn't there. They wasn't in that judge's seat, and yeah, that happens quite a lot in powerlifting.
What, and it can happen as in like that you're favoured. So say if you went to compete for this opposite competition, they'd be like, "Well,
Yeah.
Mr. Wheeler competes at the other comp. Let's be a bit more biased."
Yeah, I've seen that happen with the more the bigger name powerlifters, the ones that are kind of up there as being world class. It's definitely happened. It actually happened to my coach about 2-3 years ago, and he'd put in a great squat, put in a great bench, just needed the deadlift to round up. I think it would have been the biggest raw total in the UK at the time. He deadlifted, I want to say 402.5, maybe 407.5, and that's kilos, by the way. To me, to a lot of other people, perfectly good lift, but the two side refs reckon they seen downward movement in the bar, and they red lit it.
Nearly half a ton, right?
Yeah.
500 is something.
Yeah, that's it. Well, 500 is half a ton. Yeah.
Oh
So,
my God, half a
and
ton.
this is
What's downward movement in the bar?
So with the deadlift, the bar can only continue going upwards. It can, I think it's allowed to pause briefly, but if there is any kind of pause in the bar and it stops moving upwards, you can get red lit for that.
Well, as you've hit the hole at the bottom.
Yeah.
You hit your hips below your knees. You're on the way back up. You then can't stop.
Yeah, basically. That's the same with squat, bench, and deadlift. So when with the squat, when it's coming back up, it can only go up.
Yeah.
It can't pause. It can't come back down. Bench, same again. It's come off the chest. It can't go down. There's no downward.
And same again. Like you going slow could be a pause to me.
Yeah. That's
and
it.
Vice versa on a judging panel. So even if it wasn't biased, that's still hard. Like I never even looked at it like that. Like
yeah. So as I said, there are certain guidelines, certain rules you have to abide by.
I could say, you could say, well, that's stopped. And I could say, well, no, he's just grinding that out. It's still moving slowly.
Exactly. But yeah, these the two side refs reckon they seen downward movement in the bar when, if you look at it, the only movement in the bar was the whip, with the whip of the bar. And
okay, yeah, there's so much weight on it.
That's it, yeah, because with the deadlift bars being slightly longer, slightly thinner, when you've got 200 something kilo each side, the bar is going to flex and whip. That's what we call whip. So yeah, there was a bit of a slight bar whip, but certainly no downward movement. He was then disallowed that lift and missed out on his biggest total in the UK, unfortunately. Yeah.
And you see that happen. I think that's always going to happen. That's why, like, obviously, like football, rugby, things like that are so big because it's obvious. The ball went in the back of the net more than the ball went in the back of the other net.
Yeah, that's it.
Whereas all these other sports where it can be, or like running, you got over the line before him.
Oh,
sound.
Yeah.
Whereas there's so many like your sport, like I don't know, with cheer too. There's just so many grey areas and so many, because it's judging. It's like, well, everyone is different.
That's it,
he thinks different to him, and he thinks different to her, and that's the problem with, not the problem, but obviously why your football, your rugby, is all that stuff is so up there because it's just so easy to judge. It's obvious.
Yeah,
obviously without VAR on that these days.
Yeah.
It's not that easy at the moment, but obviously to who won and who lost, it's obvious.
Oh.
Well, that sucks that I never really looked at it like that, and I never really knew that obviously that there was so much they're looking at. So with the 3 different lifts, what are they looking at first? Let's go bench first. What are the judges looking for?
Okay, so the federation I compete in, you will unrack the weight. You will then be told to start. So bring the bar down to the chest. Once you get to the chest, you pause. You wait for the press command. So once the weight is dead on the chest, the center ref that is essentially behind you will tell you to press. So then you must press. You will see some people that they'll pause on the chest, and when they press, they'll sink it a little bit more, then press to try and get a bit of momentum.
Not allowed
That's
to.
not allowed, no. Although I have seen it passed. Yeah. So when you're told to press, the bar has to come up in obviously in an upward motion. Can't stop. Can't come down. I'm pretty sure as well you must lock out at the same time. So you're not allowed one arm to lock out before the other. I think you can get red light for that. You have to lock out at the same time.
Yeah.
If you hit the racks behind you, and that deems to have helped the lift, you can get red lit for that.
You would have dropped it otherwise.
Yeah, that's it. And you'll see some people that it's not intentionally done, but if they go backwards, they hit the rack, and it looks as though the rack has kind of helped them get the lift up. You get red lit for that. And then, once completed the lift, the referee will tell you to rack. You then put the weight back in the rack, and that's it. It's down to the 3 reps.
And that's so hard having to do when you're told.
Yeah,
Not like
it's
pick it
kind
off,
of
get it in your head, come down.
Explained like that, it sounds like a lot, but it kind of happens so quickly. You just kind of you're waiting and listening for the start, for the press, for the rack.
Do you remember? So it's on your chest. If you're coming down, you've hit it. You know to dig your feet in and to press.
Yeah.
When you're waiting.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah. A lot of the time, as soon as the bar, the weight is dead on the chest, that's it. Yeah.
Same again. That could be different for.
Well, this is it. Yeah.
People. The dude could be tired by the end of the day. When you go on, you could be like, "Oh shit, yeah, go,
yeah.
press." Like
that's
left
it,
you a few seconds.
When you compete quite regularly in a federation or in the same federation, you soon
get used to it.
You soon learn who you want as your centre ref on bench, put it that way, because there are certain refs that as soon as the bar has touched the chest and it stopped moving, they're happy. They will tell you to press. I've also seen some others that will quite literally give you a 1 or a 2 count.
Just leave you there.
Yeah, for whether it's only like 1 or 2 seconds, it feels like a long time.
Oh yeah, it's a lot when you got. Because you're still loaded.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything's still loaded up. Like, you're not moving. You're still static tension. Still, your muscles are still working. Like,
yeah.
So is that the same for basically the squat and the deadlift too? Just move it from point A to point B cleanly.
Pretty much, yeah. So again, with the squat, you'll unwrap the weight. You get told to squat. You then must squat to sufficient depth. There's no up call. You just come up when you think you've hit a certain depth. Yeah, and as long as it's a clean lift, as long as there's no downward movement, there's no foot movement forwards or backwards. Yeah, that's it. And then once you're at the top of the lift, once you're stood, knees are straight, knees are locked, you're upright, the referee will tell you to rack. And then again, the 3 refs have like a little button in the hand which they decide is a white or red light.
So apart from it coming off like wonky, obviously which I take it is the same for the deadlift and the bench too. Like if it's wonky, the judge could red light it. Can they mark you? Like it's not really marks, is it? It's just lights, right?
Yeah.
Can they do it for form? So say if like some dude just rocks up and his ass gets in the air, but he deadlifts the whole thing with his legs straight and his back bent.
Yeah, it might not be very appealing to the eye, but yeah, no. As long as the weight is lifted from point A to point B, they can do it by way for me.
Going on that, what take do you have on Eddie Hall's form and how he does it when he did that big deadlift? And he talks about, and he actually does a video how he describes how he is stronger with his back curled over. And the way he rolls.
Yeah, because just on the side note, I was actually there in Leeds when he did that deadlift. I was there in the crowd.
I bet that was sick.
Quite possibly the best thing I've ever witnessed in front of 10,000 people. I mean, I don't get excited about much. I was jumping up and down. I nearly cried when that happened. And the room was electric when he did that. It was absolutely incredible.
I bet they hyped it up before as well.
Like, yeah. Because obviously it was on the cameras as well. It was for TV. So you got Colin Bryce who runs the Strongman. You got him hyping the crowd up, getting everyone to chant, and yeah, that was incredible. But I mean, everyone's got their own way of doing things, I suppose.
Because there is a thing. Is it a Jefferson curl that is like that? Is it the Jefferson curl where you warm? A lot of people warm up with it, where you like fully roll your spine, roll over with a bar, and you roll it all the way down your legs, and you literally go into bad form.
Oh, okay.
And you keep.
Okay.
Is it Jefferson? I want to be a Jefferson curl.
I think it's a Jefferson squat.
I can't remember what it's called. It's called something, and a lot of people at CrossFitters use it quite a lot as well to warm up. But like, I've seen powerlifters warm with it too, and it feels great. Like you don't put too much weight on, but you stand on like a box so your toes are off, so you can reach right down.
Yeah.
But you go from like you have the weight and you go chin in, So people who are listening to this, I'm trying to describe what I'm doing with my chin in, and then like roll. You tuck your chest in,
Yeah.
and you go to like Eddie's form basically, because you keep the bar on yourself, and it like warms. I don't know.
I suppose it
warms
would stretch
everything
the
up.
spine as well and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
and stretches, gets your hamstrings like not fired up as they would if you just isolate them.
Yeah.
But basically, a bit like how Eddie Hall lifted it, apart from his legs.
Yeah.
Which I do love with the deadlift, which something I learned as well, is when you think about it as a push, not a pull.
Yeah.
That feels great, and I transfer that into chair now. So with basket tosses, with partner stunt tosses, with stunts, I talk about push your feet into the ground, push your feet into the ground, it's never throw your arms, do this, do that. It's push your feet into the ground. That all came from the deadlift.
Yeah.
That's such a great feeling, try and push the world away. And I can see why lifting so much weight doing that feels great too. Like just pushing your feet into the ground, keeping your head down, just keep your chin down and push your feet like up. It must feel great with a lot of weight.
Yeah, it does. When you get to the top of that lift and you lock whatever the lift is out, it's a pretty good feeling.
So I know you don't go deep into the science and stuff, like it's just a hobby. We've noticed that with your food as well. Like it is serious, but it's not serious.
Yeah.
I think when you start messing with your food and you start messing with loads of stuff, then that's when it becomes real serious, and you might start to lose the love for it. 'Cause that's when people lose the love for stuff, when they go so deep and invested in it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But do you find that your training's getting more scientific?
Yeah, I think over the years there's definitely been a different approach to it. Obviously now each and every session we go in,
It's not a COVID cough.
No, it's not.
We did do our temperature checks, guys, before we started.
It's certainly not a COVID cough. It's just
we did wash our hands.
Yeah, it's just a cough that I have. Yeah, so I'll go in. Yeah, I'll go into each session knowing what I'm doing. I'll have been in contact with my coach on the way over to the gym. He tells me what to do, what weight, how many sets, how many reps. So there's definitely always structure to what I do. I suppose with the scientific stuff, I always try and lift to the best possible standard I can. Again,
so like form, what I mean, like not scientific is with form, but that's biomechanics. But like, is form coming into it a bit more? And because like strongman is very, like say, there's very abnormal ways of picking stuff up because that's where you're stronger. So then why do we? I don't know, like the Atlas stones. They're curved when they pick them up. They pull them close to their body.
Horrible, doesn't it? Yeah.
But that's their strong way of doing it. Why don't we deadlift like that? Why are we told to deadlift with this neutral straight back?
Yeah,
no.
That's a good question, really.
Like you say, did Eddie Hall get his deadlift form from being an amazing Atlas stone picker? Because that's how you pick her up. That's not very pick her up. That's like a child watching World's Strongest Man on Christmas Day. Mummy, to pick her up in the stones. Like he was really good at the stones, and then his deadlift came from there. I think. Yeah. Like, is that where he got the? Did he think that, and he's not telling no one?
I think as well, the sheer size of him. When you're going to be, again, I think Eddie Hall is, I think he's 6'1", 6'3", so he's a couple of inches taller than me. I think he's 190 kilo when he pulled that deadlift, 193 kilo.
Yeah, he was unhealthily big though, and that was a bit where he was like, I'm going to do it, and that's when he stopped, didn't he? And I know people have teased him for it after, but I think what a brave thing to do, because he's been teased for it by people who he competes with or against. Like, oh, so you're not going to win strongman again? Well, no, actually, because I'm so short compared to everyone else. Yeah. And not naturally gifted, but he basically says he had to nearly die to win World's Strongest Man because he was so fat, and he was fat. Like
he was, fat.
Unhealthily. But he had to do that to like with his. He explains it with the truck pull and the lifts like that. Yeah. And to do the deadlift, the fat was there to keep his body together. Like, and he would never have got that if he wasn't so big. But I think that was very brave of him to say, you know what, I'm done. I've got kids. I now need to make money a different way.
Yeah. He did and has done what he said he was going to do, and then he's gone, right, I've done that. Why do I need to do it again?
I think it's good because of the ridicule he has got from, you've only done it once. And I remember on one of his videos, the actual dude who owns the gym he trains at was like, well, yeah, you only won it once, didn't you? And then dropped out. Like, and I saw it on a video and I was like, what?
Wow.
But he just dealt with it like, because he understands that his family.
That's it, yeah. I mean, to some people, once is enough. To some people, once is not enough. Obviously, for Eddie, once was enough, and then he has to then put his family life into the aspect of
He's
it.
been so clever though, because he's taken what he's done and made money out of it.
Oh yeah, he's
Like
absolutely
the deadlift, I know he said, "I'm only doing it if you pay me," didn't he?
Yeah, I think he
said to the owner, like, I can pick it up. Can you? How much do you pay me to do it?
Yeah, they joked about it, didn't they? About 2 years before they actually did it. And yeah, I believe he got quite some money for doing that. But
That's
yeah,
clever.
and as I say, yeah, he's now come away from strongman. He's now doing a lot more promotion stuff. Always seeing him on social media doing something, and obviously they've got this fight coming up next year. So they're going to get a big payday from that. But
the world of sport has gone crazy, man. It's just a giant show now.
One thing I do take my hat off to Eddie for though is bringing the Arnolds over here next year. So we're having the Arnold Classic at the NEC next year.
Oh, sick.
So so that's going to be pretty awesome.
Is it the Arnold Classic, or is it the second one? Is there two of them, or is it just the same company?
So I believe Arnold Classic it travels around the world. That you have it in Australia, I think Ohio, Spain, maybe somewhere else that I can't remember. There's about 5 or 6 different places around the world it goes to throughout the year.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure whether we've ever had it over here. I'm not too sure, but yeah, as of next year, the Arnold Classic will be in Birmingham, NEC.
Oh, sick! So can you qualify for that?
I would imagine so. Yeah.
Now, right?
I'm not too sure on the details yet. I would like to think they would hold some sort of powerlifting there, yeah, as they do with Body Power. They hold the powerlifting meet there, and that federation is kind of the federation I spoke about earlier. It's kind of our the federation I compete with is kind of like the rival fed to us. So yeah, it'd be pretty cool if the GPC, who I compete with, could get a spot there and hold like a pro show of some sort.
That'd be nice to qualify for and go and compete out.
Yeah, definitely. The GPC did have it all lined up this year to hold a pro show. So when I say pro show, it's invite only. There's money involved. You get people from all over the world that are invited. And yeah, there are some quite big sums of money up for grabs.
Oh well, hopefully. Like that'd be so sick, and to say like you seem quite excited about the Arnold too coming here, like to compete at it as well.
Oh yeah, that'd be
the first time here would be great. I think a local girl, Chloe Brennan, she's qualified, right? I don't know if it's for this year or is that for the?
Yeah, she's
qualified. She's
the under 63 kilo strong woman or something.
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
I actually, if she's watching this, I actually inboxed her to come on the podcast and she ignored me. So
rude. Yeah, I know people. I don't know Chloe personally. I know people who know Chloe. I follow her on Instagram.
I used to trampoline with her.
Did you?
Yeah.
Small world.
So yeah. I've not known her through for a strongwoman career.
Yeah.
But she's doing amazing things. But yeah, I used to trampoline with her.
Yeah, small world.
That'd be sick if you compete there. Let's wrap that up, man. Thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks for opening yourselves up to the story, and then we'll get you back in when the studio's done as well.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
And yeah, good luck in the future.
Thank you.
And I hope you do get to compete this year.
Yeah, I'm holding my breath. I'm holding my breath that the GPC hopefully announce something for maybe November, December time, but it's looking unlikely.
That'll be sick. So
yeah,
a big thank you to you, big 6 foot absolute beast with a very good man beard. If you're on YouTube, you can see that he's got a very, very good beard. Thanks for spending your time with me, and it's been a good catch up.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
Peace.